Welcome to class. So today we're going to be talking about narratives and what we need in a narrative for it to actually make sense and have structure and flow. So what do you think, so this is what we're using today, a concept map. So what do you think a concept map is? Yep.
It's a type of graphic organizer used to help structure and represent knowledge of a particular topic or idea. And it begins with a main concept in the middle and then it branches into spokes which connect to the central idea.
Awesome. So a concept map is aimed to structure our information, build on new knowledge and make connections with our old knowledge as well. So we can also just structure our information in one big visual graphic organizer and as Charlotte said, they break off into spokes, that's what they are called, and we can see clearly what parts of the central idea connects to the central idea. Alright, awesome. So, to begin with, what do you think is the best way to start off a narrative? Or
with the setting.
The setting? Awesome. So setting. So a setting would be, where do you want your characters or where do you want your narrative to take place? Do you want it outside? Do you want it inside? Do you want people to see the weather? Do you want to have it in a jail cell? Who knows? You can be creative with it, but a setting is, where you want to place your characters in your story that you're trying to tell. All right, what would be the next part?
Maybe the plot.
The plot? Awesome. So that's probably where we should begin. So a plot is, what is your conflict of your story? What is the main point of your story? What impact do you want to make on your audience? So we need to figure out, how are you going to tell your story? What do you want to tell your story with? You got to think about all these things before we start a narrative. You need to structure a plan. That's what a plot is as well. You can start by figuring out what do you want to tell about your story. So awesome. What would be the next part?
Thinking about the characters.
Characters, great. So, awesome. So characters would be people that you want in your story. So how are you gonna place out your story? Would you like to place it out with, a hero and a sidekick, or you can be really imaginative with it. So there's two types of characters, I believe. So there's a protagonist, which is the hero of the story, someone that is the main effect of the story, someone that's going to make an impact in your story. And then there's people like static characters, which are people on the side that act like extras, like in films and movies, but they're in your story. So you need to figure out how you want to play your story and people you want to play your story with. Alright, awesome. What would be the next part?
Maybe thinking of the themes.
Themes, great. So, what kind of themes do you think there could be in a narrative?
Maybe like someone's at the beach.
Someone at the beach? Awesome. So we could have, a seasonal theme. Or we could have a comedy theme in our narrative. Or a tragedy. You could have a big tragedy story. Or a crime scene. But who knows, you can be really creative with it. So themes is something that helps you to structure a narrative as well. So you can always come back to the theme and say, hey, this is how I want to structure my narrative. I want to base it around the theme. So it's really about basing your narrative around the theme. Awesome, what would be another part to our narrative?
Working out the point of view.
Point of view, great. So how do you want to tell your narrative? In what way do you want to tell your narrative? Do you want it to be in the point of view of yourself? How your internal dialogue? Or do you want it in the first person, third person, however you would like it? You need to work out how to talk about your story through a point of view, however you would like it, through your characters' dialogue, inside their head or outside. You need to work out how to do that. Alrighty, so what would be another part of
the atmosphere?
Atmosphere. definitely. So what kind of mood or feeling do you want for your narrative? Do you want it to be peaceful? Do you want it to be really sad? Do you want it to be really angry? Really depends on what you want and how your story plays out. But you need to make sure that you stay consistent with your mood, so your characters can follow on and your narrative structures through. Yeah.
So should that relate back to the themes?
Yes, 100%. So we can definitely just make a big arrow down to the themes, where we can create the themes and atmosphere to combine together. Yeah, 100%. And what else could there be?
Maybe the conclusion or the resolution.
Conclusion. Awesome. So a conclusion or a resolution. So here, this is where we resolve your story. If there is a story, a big conflict, that's how we resolve it. We want to make sure that we have a resolution, because the story will just follow on and keep going. We don't want it to drag on. We want it to be precise and simple and stuff like that. So you need to conclude your story. You need to have a resolution to your conflict. Yes, so you want to conclude, resolve the story. Yeah, awesome. So let's summarize what we have learned today. So I'm just going to go on this side. So what could be some elements of narrative that you could think of to summarize what we've done here in the concept map?
We need to make sure we know what sort of storyline we would like.
Yep, so we need to figure out a storyline. We need to be clear, and we need to plan a draft, and so on. Yeah, so you need to figure out a storyline, how your story plays on. We can do that with the 5 W's, when, where, what, and that. So we can do that. So we can figure out we've got to figure out a storyline. Yeah, what's the next part?
Maybe thinking about who we want in our story.
Yep, so characters, who we want in our story. Do you want to base it on yourself? Do you want a superhero? Do you want, a crime scene, and you want somebody in a jail cell or stuff like that? So yeah, you need to figure out, and you need to describe your characters as well in your story. You need to make sure that they're descriptive in your story, so the audience can actually figure out who your characters are and who they actually are playing. So yeah, so characters, awesome. And what else could there be?
Who's the story from? If it's first person or?
Yeah, so we need to figure out our point of view. So do you like to have it in first person or third person? It's really just up to you. But you need to make sure that you're precise and you're following this all the way through your story, or else it's going to be really congested and it's not going to make sense. So you need to choose one and run with it the whole story. Awesome. And what could be something else?
Our themes.
Our themes. So this is how we base our narrative, with a theme. So come up with a theme. These are just some examples, but base your story off a theme, so you can come back to it and say, hey, this is my theme, this is how I want to work my story. I want it to be a comedy and I want people to laugh. That's how you need to think about the impact on your audience as well. Awesome. And what else could there be?
How we want the story to end.
The story to end, so conclusion. Are we going to resolve your story? That's what we've got to think about. You need to resolve it, or else we're just going to carry on for days. So a conclusion to resolve, the climax is what it's called in literal terms. So climax, so where do you want to finish it? Do you want to finish it with a big bang? Do you want to finish it, with a peaceful ending? It's really up to you. So yeah, and that's what we've learned today. So what did you think about concept maps? Did you think it was a useful way of constructing our knowledge on narratives?
I think it was easy to understand what are the elements, because you can see them all branching off.
Awesome, yeah. So that's the main point of the concept map. So we want to see what kind of elements are in a part of that central idea. So yeah, awesome. So that's it for today. Yeah, thanks for listening.